And welcome to Between the Posts for another week. I'm your host, Tommy Javor, joined by that man, the great man, Matty Gale. Welcome, Matty.
Thanks for having me, Tommy. It's absolutely fantastic to be with you this morning.
I think we all know Matty's credentials. Were you the North Adelaide Ambassador of the Year last year or something like that?
No, I wasn't. No. That was a teacher at my school.
Oh, you were the +1. Still doing very good things and working with children with disability. You're absolutely outstanding, man. Where were you yesterday and why were you so good?
I was at the Port District Plain and Nord Union game yesterday. When you've got a nail biter on your hands as a commentator, they're very easy to call. The crowd was up and about, and it was just a magnificent atmosphere. Mind you, it was ladies' day as well at the large reserve. So.
Oh, the Matty Gale show was peacocking around, was it?
No, it wasn't. Just a can of Coke at half time to keep the adrenaline going.
Of course, Breakthrough Mental Health Round, we see the great Benny there, good support by you. Division 2, how's that tracking? We'll obviously hear the full report later.
Yeah, looking magnificent. We're looking forward to getting out there. There's a bye round coming up for Division 1 in July. Us commentators will be heading out to Division 2 to commentate those games, which is going to be absolutely superb.
Nice. Now, mate, you're a bit of a trendsetter. You're the first one to bring the studio audience. It's taken off a little bit. Now, they are all friends and family, let's be honest. No one's hit me up going, can we be in the studio audience? But my family comes in regularly now. And, well, I should be taking him to the Moseley Bar and Kitchen because that's one of our great sponsors today. But the Nugget has requested sushi, so... Yes, there you go. The TV's got to us. So we're off to sushi after this, mate, and bringing your family in and the connection you've created, mate. I thank you, and you're doing a great job in everything you do.
Thank you very much, Tommy, and great to be here again. Thank you for all the support out there to all of our clubs, right from Division 1 through to Division 7. It's been magnificent to have your support.
Just quickly, mate, of course, we've got my Div 1 wrap, your Div 2 wrap, Beck. We've got Goals of the Week, Marks of the Week, What Caught Our Eye, all the usual segments. You can't go wrong. Stick with us. We'll be back with more Between the Posts. Division 1 wrap time. It's exciting to be here. What happened in round 7? Well, I was tragic in the tips, but I'll tell you why. A statistical rarity has occurred in the fact that the bottom 3 teams have all won on the same day. Don't think you could go across many divisions and find that ever happening, so well done to those 3 teams. But let's start with the Stream team, where it was the battle of 1v2. Glenunga taking on Sacred Heart. This one is, again, statistically, just things happening around the league you just don't see very often. Glenunga 8-2 have had a win. 8-2-50, Sacred Heart 6-9-45. A 5-point win to Glenunga, who've done exactly what I said and strangled and tightened and constricted and tied up the game at Webb Oval. Our player in focus is number 1 recruit Charlie Pridham, who's been having a very good year. Little blonde left footer there. Goal kickers, it was Linky Bennett with 2 and for the Rams, whilst for the Shockers it was coach Alex Colotto with 2, who was very well held all day. All right, plenty of awards to get through, plenty of smiling faces. Let's start with the Moseley Voucher Best Team Man. Again, not high possessions, but quality. A quality job done on their coach. Well done to Zach Smith. Our Neo Morth Mouthguard Player of the Day. It's a Nathan Grimer team, so you can expect there's a pressure act followed by something special. Let's have a look at the Lincoln Bennett smother and goal.
It's long. That's what they want, Glenunga, that long high kick in. Will they get numbers to the ground? I mentioned this in the first quarter, the amount. Oh, nice smother.
Oh, wow.
Nice smother. That's Lincoln Bennett.
That's a contender.
Sensational.
Nice work there from Stinky Linky. And our best on ground, New Balance, Belgravia, the Thongs, the Archies, the whole lot, of course, is that man, Charlie Pridham, number 1. Some better players from Shock that don't make the votes. Brinkworth, Luke Dewey, little Dewey there. Dewhurst was good. And Ethan Moore, tremendous season last year, back in form in 2024. For the Rams, Parsnips did a great job, and Tommy Bilby also amongst the best. Some of the commentators' notes, and again, Adam Jeffries, he rings me. He's a premiership coach. He knows what he's talking about himself. He rings me every Sunday morning. Neither of us can remember a game unless it's affected by incredibly adverse conditions. It was 21 and sunny on the weekend. 10 scoring shots to win a game. Only a Nathan Grimer team could do that, we think. So well done. The defensive structures of both teams were outstanding, and that's how you get to Division 1 Grand Finals, defensive structures. So well done to Colotto. It was an arm wrestle. In his notes, the word arm wrestle just kept appearing over and over again. That's the only way to describe it. There was just no open side ball. You couldn't switch the play because of the way it was all set up, and the game at no point opened up. Our player of the year votes, Cam Rankin was very good on the ball for Shock. He got 1 vote. Zach Smith for his job on Big Alex got the 2 votes. And as you'd expect, Charlie Pridham, I didn't have access to his stats, but Adam Jeffries was willing to put a bottle of Farmer's Leap on the fact he had 20 tackles on the weekend in the congested game, and he also kicked the match-winning goal. So well done to young Prids. A good, tough game of footy. Joffa said he loved it. And if you like tight, tough games, this one was for you. Of course, you can check it out on any of our streams. Our next one, here come the upsets. Brighton 10-12-72, Tea Tree Gully 10-11-71. Let's start by having a look at the Jag Meatworks snag of the day. It's Jack Francis, the 8th minute mark of the second quarter.
Long one, drifting back with the fly, couldn't take it hard. Ground level like a fox, picked it up and put it through. The one at the bottom.
Yeah, nice work there, Jackie boy. And the player we're going to shift to a little bit now is the son of a gun, the late legend Norm Murphy's son, Ty Murphy, number 3 for Brighton. Very, very good. The major goal kickers for the Gullies, Brown, West and Latham, all kicked 3. Wasn't a lot of goal kickers. There was lots of multiples though. Whilst for Brighton, all kicking a brace, Ricky O, Dixon, that man Francis and Tommy Wellesby. Jackie Moore said this was, who was our commentator of the day, a great team effort for the Bombers. The match did ebb and flow all day. It was shifting, but it was not just the tackling efficiency, but the second efforts that Brighton, he felt like that there was the most engaged and connected they'd been all year, and the effort was at 100%, and it was just enough to get them over the line. The votes were shared around a bit in this one. It was 1 vote for Tyler West, 2 votes for Chris Olsen running a lot from half back, and that boy best on ground, my boy Ty Murphy. Great to see you back in the votes, Ty. All right, our next game was, again, is it an upset or isn't it an upset? I'm not sure, but they were sitting in 8th and they've come back. Don't write the Reds off just yet. PAC 14-14, Golden Grove 11-9. A 23-point win there to our reigning premiers. The goal kickers for Golden Grove, it was Slater and Horskins with 3, whilst Oliver Clark, he not only kicked 5, but he'll be our man in footage. Number 21 with 20 disposals and 5 goals too, really was the difference. Interesting to note the margins as well. This game was a close game. Golden Grove had a 3-point lead at quarter time, a 2-point lead at half time, and were down only by 4 at 3-quarter time. But then it was the PAC of old. When they get a run on, they get a sniff, the big name stepped up and they went bang, 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 bang. Did the old Booker T 5 time and kicked 5 in a row. So Golden Grove let it slip, it's probably fair to say, but at Park 9, there's no shame in losing to PAC. Some of those better players for PAC included McNamara, who had 25, and another percolator is on board, Josh Burke's brother Archie. I assume it's his brother. It's unlikely to be his dad or his son. Could be a cousin, I guess. But anyway, Archie Perks, well done. Great game. For Golden Grove, Blades, Todd Shepherd, always good. And Louis Johnson didn't get in the votes, but might be a bit stiff with the 42 touches. Not a bad effort, 42 touches. I had 42 touches one season. All right, let's have a look at the Dartfish stats. Only the four of them there this week. That probably speaks to the match style and why maybe it was won. Disposals, PAC 312, Golden Grove 303. They both chip it around, so marks 86 to 94, very high, leading to 44 inside 50s. So where was it won or lost? It's that inside 50 efficiency, a great Dartfish stat. 64% for PAC, Golden Grove 45. Some of those users, your Jollies and Pits, probably just able to find the options and resulting in scores. Last but certainly not least, it's time for the Player of the Year votes. 1 vote, Geordie Neal for his 29 hitouts. 2 votes for Hayden Jolly, just sitting nicely behind the ball, setting the play up a lot. 25 good touches. And Ollie Clark, 5 goals too, is a cracker of a game. All right, on to our next one. It was Broadies 8-10-58. Spock 18-10-118. If you interviewed 100 people, I'm not sure many of them would have said that Spock are going to beat Broadies by 10 goals at home, but they have. On the back of Ty Bedford, number 10, a great game by Ty. He kicked 5, HBK Michaels kicked 4, and Higgins kicked 3. For Broadies, the only multiple goal kicker was Logan McKinnon Collins with 2. Looking at the commentators' notes, again, they send me a lot of notes. What can you say? Spock won the clearances. They were cleaner and they were more efficient. They were a dominant team and deserved it. The move to Johnny Reid, again, courageous move by Mike O'Leary to take your best forward and put him in defence is paying dividend. They've won 2 games since they've done it, and they're finding alternate goal scorers. It wasn't the blowout that it suggested throughout the day, as the margins were 3, 24 and 24. And you think Broadview at home, 4 goals down at three-quarter time, would still be a show, but Spot came out and really lit it up with 6 in a row to take it out to 60 points. An outstanding effort indeed. Broadview certainly still had a crack, and well done to Baker, O'Leary and Flanagan, who gave their all for the Tigers. But again, this is a bad loss for Joffa and the boys. For Spot, Carruthers and Ed Allen were very good but don't appear in the votes. But I'll tell you who does appear in the votes. Shaun Michaels with 1 vote. That's Nick, of course. 2 votes for Henry Stewart Rattray. I reckon he's been in the votes 4 or 5 times this year. Never best on ground, but always second or third. He's a young star and will only continue to get better. And best on ground, that boy, Bedford. Well done on a great game. Well done to the Spockers. Write them off at your own peril. I'm looking forward to giving you the ladder later on because they are back, the Spock boys. Well done. All right, what it is time for now is the best way to analyse a game is to have the man, the expert, who was at the game there. So let me bring in Matty Gale. Through the magic of television. Thanks for joining me, mate, again.
Thanks for having me, Tommy.
Beautiful. Let me get some stats out of the game and then get you to speak to it because what a great call you had, as I mentioned earlier in the show. Port and PNU at Largs. Matty Gale, the star commentator. Port 12-16-88. An accurate PNU 14-8-92. A 4-point win there to the Falcons. Spence and Wagner with 3 for the Falcons, whilst Batty with 4 and Deanoff with 3. But the man that was given best on ground, number 15, Matty Nunn, tell us a bit about his game.
Yeah, Matty Nunn was spectacular, an enormous accumulator with the pill, courageous as well. There was a game to be won there yesterday and he was in the thick of it, whether he's at the bottom of the pack or dishing out or delivering to his keep forwards, which was terrific to see. Also in the votes was Scotty Lycett, who was the most dominant big man on the ground. And basically carried Port District for most of that game, particularly up for the first 3 quarters. They got their game back on and their mojo on the last quarter, but it was too little too late, as we see a little bit later on with the last kick of the day. Brad McKenzie was precision with his skills, played that quarterback role to a T. Jed Spence was also awesome with 3 goals, particularly in the first half. He was back into the lineup yesterday and got plenty of tricks. James Batty was the catalyst, getting Port District back in the game. He kicked 2 goals in the second term and had a shot on the siren. So he was awesome up forward. And Tommy Wagner, he chisel gripped plenty of balls yesterday and he was outstanding as well. So his forward craft was superb. Just on that, it was probably the only game I've ever witnessed in my life where there was a shot on goal, either after the siren or the ball actually went through the post seconds before or after. It was phenomenal that you actually see one game where you have one shot after the siren. But this
Speaks about in every quarter.
Every quarter.
Well, mate, it's a beautiful little segue there. It's Benny Gould from the boundary lining up for a shot. Was it Benny Gould in the last quarter?
I believe he was on the boundary line. I don't know whether it was a received hand pass or he picked it up. He had the game. He didn't have enough ice in his veins. It was a pretty difficult angle. As you know, the pockets aren't really deep there. They are shallow pockets, but unfortunately, went straight across the goals.
Well, let's have a look. We won't take your word for it, but let's have a look at the call from Benny Gould.
Game 100. Just needs to settle. Gold. Siren goes! And the ball's out of bounds on the fall.
And bad luck, Benny, of course, the Falcons getting up by 4. But interesting to note, it was PNU by 12, 21 and 12 at the breaks, getting over the line by 4. So they obviously did really well. Here's a stat for you, though, Matt, and for all our viewers at home. Port District at home 0-3, away from home 4-0. So I can't really explain that. And it was in the last quarter, 9 goals between the two teams, 5 to Payne and 4 to Port District. I guess it just opened up a bit, did it?
Yeah, it certainly did. And it got to the point where Payne and Norwood Union kicked the first 3 goals, come out the blocks really well in the last quarter, looked like they had it on ice. And then Port District came back 4 in a row and then just won just to settle it right at the end. To get the chocolates for Payne and Norwood Union, but again, it went right down to the wire.
Beautiful. We love our highlights, and a couple of highlights, beautifully called, I might add. Let's have a look at the Bianco mark of the week. Thomas Altamore doing his best work.
Hand pass to Costanzi. Oh. So plenty of candy there. Mark. That is a Bianco mark of the week.
Nicely done and nicely called, my friend. Some of your best work. And there was another one in there. There was another beauty. Let's have a look at Joey Haynes. Just was he taking flight?
He did. Nice little pack mark right near our broadcast box.
There by Catalano. Gives the 1-2 to Catalano. Kicks down the line. Oh! And a Bianco mark of the week contender to Joseph Haynes.
Mr. Footy Sauce, as Phil calls him. Nicely done. You've already given the votes out, mate, but just quickly, Brad McKenzie with 1, Scott Lysette with 2 in ruck, and Matty Nunn with 3. Let me ask you a question without notice. Payneham going to play finals?
Yeah, I think there's at least one spot up for grabs in that 5 at the moment.
Yeah.
Probably 4th and 5th on the ladder. You can almost lock away the top 3. But 4th and 5th is probably 5 teams vying for 2 spots in that top 5.
I think they would argue that there's 7 teams vying for those because they've all won 2 games, which is a nice little segue, mate. Let's have a look at that ladder. And Glenunga, how Grima does it is beyond me. They're 7-0, 15 A-graders, people who played A-grade, unavailable for the weekend. No excuses, but they win with 8 goals too. It's a master stroke, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is.
So Shock 5-2, Port 4-3. And then PNU 4-3 also. And then it gets really tight. Tea Tree Gully and Broadies both, and PAC now, all 3-4. Golden Grove, Spock and Brighton, all 2-5. And again, the anomaly I mentioned at the start of the segment, the bottom 3 teams all winning. I can't imagine that would happen too often in any leagues ever anywhere. It's great for the game, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly doesn't happen in the lower divisions.
I know,
we'll
it
look through
does
those stats a little bit later. But
Yeah.
it's one of those leagues where expect the unexpected.
Yeah, tipping's become impossible. If I'm being honest, I got 1 this week. I think it was. Maybe 2, you could argue. But didn't tip the bottom 3s, which is probably reasonable. Okay, mate, let's have a look at this week's games. It's the last week before a break, and even though it's not the halfway mark, you feel like this is the point where teams will reset. Some players might come back after the break. So these games are crucial. Port versus Brighton. This one's at Largs Reserves. Will they win their first game at home?
They're 0-3. They'll win their first game at home next Saturday.
Be very surprised if they don't. Again, I've still got a lot of time for Golden Grove, but they host Shock. I think just Shock are too good defensively for Golden Grove.
Yeah, it will be a battle of the defensive structures. I wouldn't be surprised if Golden Grove win at home, but Shock, if they're a legitimate top 3 team, which we expect they will be, they should get the chocolates away from home. Necessity
sometimes breeds success, and they have to win Golden Grove, or if you're 2-6, you're not making the finals in Div 1, for mine. PAC versus PNU. This is part of that middle block. It's 7th place PAC, 3-4. 4th place PNU, 4-3. Tough to pick this one.
Yeah, it certainly is. This is a 4-point game. We're going to see several of these almost every week. I actually expect PAC at home, only because it's at home.
I'll take my beloved Fouts because I love them. Yeah, well, with your 4-point game theory, here's another one. Tea Tree Gully and Broadview. Both teams must win. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I was out at Tea Tree Gully for a funeral during the week. Their former head trainer, Darryl Wilson, they've actually got a plaque. He was the longest surviving spina bifida person in South Australia. That club is actually humming along at the moment and probably going under the radar a little bit, Tea Tree Gully, whether they're playing above themselves or not. But I expect them to win against Broadview. Broadview a little bit disappointing the last couple of weeks, but expect them to fight hard against Tea Tree Gully. Yeah, the 10-goal loss to Broadie would suggest there's no reason to tip them whatsoever. But last chance saloon for Broadies and me. I'm going to take the Tigers to bounce back. But as you said, Tea Tree Gully would probably enter favourites. Glenunga versus Spock. Well, Spock have won 2 in a row. The problem Spock have got is it's at Webb Oval. And yeah, the Glenunga Spider will be out and expect the Rams to do the dishes on Spock. Yeah, 2 games clear of second and 3 games of percentage clear and with a double chance. They're going to be there at the end when the whips are cracking. The Rams. Interesting stat now, when we just revert back to the ladder. 10th place is 2 games from 3rd place. That is unusual coming into round 8, isn't it? Yeah, it's phenomenal. It just shows the tightness of this league, and there's no easy games. No. And away games, home ground advantage isn't really an advantage, as we've seen with Port District. But you can rock up on any given day, and as long as you've got your players switched on, results can favour you. But yeah, it's been a brilliant start of the season, almost at the halfway mark. Yeah, Division 1. Very, very exciting competition, and it's a privilege to be able to bring it to you each week. We'll be back with more Between the Posts after this short break.
Get a quick and easy low-rate car loan from Police Credit Union today.
I'm Beck Northcott and welcome to the Adelaide Footy League Division 1 Women's Wrap. And come with me as we have a look at round 7. Can you believe we're already at round 7 of the season? It's crazy. And just looking at what's happened this round, there are some results that I cannot wait to talk about. So let's get into it. The first game we're going to look at here is Henley versus Broadview, which was at Shark Park. Now Henley, I think they've made a real move in this division. They've kind of just been, flying under the radar, maybe just for me. Going about it, just getting those wins. And this week they've come through with a 54-point win, 10-363 to 139. And they kicked 10 goals 3. I've banged on about inaccuracy here, and so has TJ if you've been watching the men's wrap as well. And we always say bad kicking's bad footy, but 10 goals 3, that's absolutely huge. And not only that, they kicked 5 goals straight and kept Broadview scoreless in the first term. And that, what a way to set themselves up for a huge win. And with this result, plus some of the others which are obviously to come, this sends Henley to top spot on the ladder. So with that win, let's have a look at who kicked all the goals for Henley. Well, there was 3 goals to Kayla Robran, 2 goals to Hayley Conlon, and singles to Tamsin Fegert, Zara Kemp, Rebecca Rayner, Steph Rayner, and Chloe Whitington Charity. So they really shared the load there across goal and were obviously all very accurate. Now for Henley, their best on ground was Lara Chihade. Looking at Broadview now, their only goal was scored by Dakota Kendall, and she was also the best on ground. So it sounds like she was doing a lot of the heavy lifting there for Broadview. Now Henley, they've really taken down some teams in the last few weeks. They beat Goodwood last week, Broadview today, and Broadview, well, they were coming off a big win against Golden Grove, and so would probably be a bit disappointed to drop this one. But I think they'll definitely bounce back because Broadview were really hitting some good form prior to this. The next game we're going to have a look at here, and my goodness, it was a close one. Payneham and Goodwood. Now Goodwood, they were coming off a rough loss to the Henley Sharks, but they're back to their early season best, if not a little bit better, because Goodwood, 7-7-49, defeated the previously undefeated Payneham 7-4-46. So just a 3-point nail-biter. So for Payneham, that is their first loss, but it is only by 3 points. So, there's not super amount of alarm bells there to ring for Payneham, but they probably would still be disappointed to drop the game. Now, this was the first matchup between these two teams, of course, because Goodwood has come up from Division 1. So maybe it was a little bit of that unknown factor for Payneham, playing a team that they haven't really seen before. Regardless of the reasons why, the points will go to Goodwood and they will be happy to be back on the winners list. So good to see Goodwood, as I said, hitting that form that they had earlier in the season where they were just taking teams down week in, week out. Now, we'll have a look at the goal scorers now. For Goodwood, Emma White kicked 3. Emma Chappell, Olivia McAvoy, Georgia GT Taylor, Kari Webb, they all kicked singles. And the best on, would you believe it, is Madeline Griffiths. I'm going to have to get out there and have a look at Madeline because she's hitting the best players every week. So she's obviously doing something special down there at Goodwood. Having a look at Payneham, the goals were from Abby Claby with 3. She's always hitting the scoreboard every week. Similarly, Letitia Ackland with 2, singles to Chloe Samuel and Chelsea Packer. Now, this was Chelsea Packer's debut for the club at Payneham. She's obviously been the captain of Glenelg, got a lot of talent. When I went down to Payneham earlier in the year, there was obviously a real buzz about Chelsea coming to the club. So I look forward to seeing how this team really uses her as an asset now that she's come into the side. Now, their best on yesterday was Jess Meachin, friend of the show. We've interviewed her a few times, so good to see Jess doing well. Now, I'm sure both teams will have plenty to take out of the game. There'll be plenty to talk about in the match reviews to come this week. It was obviously very close, teams that matched up really well, and this is probably a match that we will see come finals, and definitely the rematch, which will come later in this season, will be one to watch. But yeah, this is clearly two teams that play really well against each other, and it'll be interesting to see how they go following this. Now, the final match of the round, Golden Grove and Morphettville Park at Harpers Field. Now, did you know that is a 32-kilometre road trip for the Roos? So, a bit of distance covered there to get out to Golden Grove. Now, Golden Grove managed to take the win here and take themselves to 3 wins and 3 losses with a 16-point win over Morphettville Park. Similarly with Goodwood, they've come up, so it's their first time playing against Morphettville, defeated them for the very first time. 7-5-47 to 4-7-31, and they led at every change, which is good to see from Golden Grove. They've been a bit up and down. Obviously, as I said, they sit at 3-3, but a real consistent 4-quarter performance. And it can be intimidating coming up against Morphettville Park. I've talked about that before. They've been Division 1 club for years and years and years. The talent that's come out of there is insane. So well done to Golden Grove for taking it up to Morphettville Park and getting the win. Having a look at their goal scorers, Tali Borgas with 2, and singles to Sophie Beavis, Eileen Heibner, Amali Innes, Ayla Johnson and Ashley Thomas. Now, the best on was Amali Innes. For Morphettville Park, Caitlin Swanson kicked 2 goals with singles to Sophie Hoyle and Taylor Liffner. Their best on was Megan Harper. As I said, I think this was a good moment for Golden Grove, improving themselves as they go through Division 1, having a chance to play all the teams. Morphettville Park, their season's been a little bit up and down. It took them a while to get their first win. I think coming into this second rotation of playing all the teams, we'll see a lot of improvement from Morphettville Park. Now, Smosh had the bye this weekend, so they got to enjoy the week off. Now, let's have a quick look at the ladder, because after this round, every team has played each other, so we can really just sort of see where everyone's at after meeting each other one time. As I said, Henley have moved to the top of the ladder, 5 wins, 1 loss. They've got fairly strong percentage over Payneham, who are also 5-1. So the top 2 pretty set there for the minute with Henley and Payneham. In third spot, after their takedown win of Payneham, Goodwood are on 4 wins, 2 losses. Then moving up into 4th with their win this week, Golden Grove with 3-3. So done well there to move themselves into 4th position. Then in 5th and 6th, we have Broadview and Morphettville Park, both with those 2 wins and 4 losses. Broadview do have a strong percentage there, so if they can get some more wins on the board, they can definitely move themselves up the ladder. And Smosh sitting in 7th spot, unfortunately yet to get a win, but I've mentioned this over the last few weeks. They've definitely been improving every week, so I'm hoping that they manage to get a win in this second rotation of games. But it'll be interesting to look back on this at the end of the season and see how things have changed from here. Now, looking to round 8, obviously we're going back into playing each other again. We've got Broadview and Goodwood playing each other at Broadview. Now, obviously, Goodwood have been in good form, as I've said, but Broadview, I think they'll be really looking to get a win here, especially at home. So we'll check in with how that one went next week. We've got the grand final rematch again between Payneham and Morphettville. I can't see Payneham dropping another game after the weekend, so I expect them to be back in form here at Payneham. Henley and Smosh will face off, and given how Henley is going, this may be a bit of a rough day for Smosh, but again, you never know what can happen on the day. Golden Grove will also have the bye, and this round also does lead into the long weekend. Now, let's have a quick look around the divisions to see what else is happening in women's footy. Well, in Division 2, people were just scoring all over the place because all the winning teams kicked 55 points or higher, with the highest score being from Hectorville with 95 points. So just Goal City down there in Division 2. In Division 3, well, I've got to give a bit of a shout out to Brighton women's team this week because they moved to 7 wins and no losses, so they're undefeated. We were down there for the men's stream this weekend. They were celebrating pride round for the women's. We got to speak to their captain, Maddie, and it was just great to hear about Brighton and how all things are going really well for women's footy down there. They had a bake sale going. I definitely indulged in that. And look, it was delicious. So well done to Brighton. After a rough season in Division 2, they come down to Division 3 and really found their feet. Division 6, well, there were some massive winning scores in Division 6. These are the scores of the winning teams. 85, 89 and 116. So don't come round here and tell me that people don't score in women's footy, because they absolutely do. And having a quick look at it, Salisbury North kicked 15 goals, 12 different goal scorers. That's huge. Over half their team's kicking a goal, sharing it around. It's awesome to see. Marion, well, they kicked 13 goals with 8 different goal scorers. And for Houghton, they kicked 14 goals, 6 different goal scorers, and Taylor Ralph kicking 5 goals. So there's plenty to see across all divisions in the Adelaide Footy League women's competition. So thanks for tuning in to the Division 1 Women's Wrap. I'll see you next week.
It's time for our Farmers Leap Coach of the Week. It was a tough choice this week, but ultimately Adam Jeffries has decided. It's Mike O'Leary from St. Peter's, the Spockers. Now, Mike, what a week he had. All of us experts tipped Broadview to make the 5 and be nice and high. Well, Spockers went to Broadview, nice 10-goal win. So it was a bit of a surprise to many of us, but they are just starting to show form like they did late last year when they get momentum. A couple of extra players in. Under Mike's guidance, they've been fantastic. They might still be 9th on the ladder, but interestingly enough, only 1 game out of the 5. It's their 2nd consecutive victory, and I think a strong turnaround is on the cards under the great leadership of our Coach of the Week, Mike O'Leary. Welcome back to Between the Posts. Well, it's been 6 weeks between drinks, but it's time for our Division 2 expert, Matt Gale.
Thanks for having us, Tommy. We're just going to quickly nosedive into yesterday's results. Flinders Park defeating Modbury. This was a pretty impressive win for Flinders Park. Modbury's got a blemish against their name. We'll talk more about their upcoming round very, very soon. So great result for Flinders Park. Keeps them in the 5. Edwardstown going down against Adelaide Uni by 43 points. So that's probably the highest winning margin in Division 2 yesterday. Goodwood Saints getting the chocolates and a much-needed win against Frost Camden. Old Iggy's got slow out the blocks again. Got four goals against them at quarter time. Come home strongly, but went down to Ross Trevor by 24 points. And Athelston and Salisbury North, match of the round. Salisbury North remaining undefeated with the 15-point victory. Probably their closest win this year so far.
Yeah, taking all before them, Luke Harble and the boys. They're gold sneaks. They just seem to be really well balanced. Geordie O'Brien leading away there. Salisbury North Hawks, team to beat, no doubt.
Yeah, certainly are. I'm looking forward to going out. We'll just have a look at the ladder now as we speak. Salisbury North, $64,000 question, Tommy. Mm-hmm. Can they remain undefeated throughout this season?
Takes a hell of a good team to... in Division 2 A grade, history suggests no. Are they good enough? Probably. But I just look at the teams around them. There's enough good teams like Ross Trevor and Athelston. You think they'd drop one at some point.
Maybe the case. Looking forward to commentating the Salisbury North and Flinders Park game in a couple of weeks' time, which will be superb, celebrating their Ladies' Day and their Sponsors' Day, I believe.
You're at all the Ladies' Days, aren't you? It's
just a fail attraction.
Yeah.
Modbury's sitting in 2nd position with a 5-2 record. I've got a bit of a question mark over Modbury at the moment, Tommy.
They're sitting 2nd, mate. You got a question mark over the teams?
Well, I do, because the next 2 rounds they're going to come up against Salisbury North this week and Ross Trevor the week after. So we're looking at a top five and a ladder prediction here at the moment that doesn't include the last two games of this first half of the season. So let's have a look when they turn for home. But I suspect could be 5 and 4.
Yeah, right.
Come the halfway mark. Ross Trevor and Atherstone also with a 5 and 2 record, looking really good. I suspect that they'll probably stay in the 5 at this stage. Flinders Park have been a bit of a surprise packet. Been playing really, really well, enjoying the second division company and sitting in 5th position. Goody Saints were a bit of a pre-season predictor as a premiership favourite.
Yes, they were.
Definitely locked in everyone's top 3. Have struggled. It seems as though they're getting their season back on track with 3 and 4.
Yeah, Tommy Carter's back in ruck. The big left-handed. He's a fireman. So the addition of him will only make them stronger and get their on-ballers more use.
Adelaide Uni hanging around as good teams do. They're going to be another team pressing for the 5 in the second half of the season. Old Iggy's probably one of the teams that I thought at the start of the year may go into free fall after dropping out of Division 1 last year. They've been playing some good footy.
Their last month has actually been consistent. They haven't been blown out once. They've been in games, but again, slow starts at times, probably the Achilles heel.
Yeah, Foss Camden, don't know what you're going to get from week on week, but they seem to be playing some decent footy. Things may change when we get into the weather as the season progresses.
A lot of changes at Foss over the summer, and yeah, they may end up in that relegation battle with
Edwardstown, unfortunately, winless at this stage and winless in their Division 2 reserves at the moment. So it's been a pretty bleak season for Edwardstown. We wish them all the best, and hopefully they can get into some sort of recovery mode as we play the season out. Now, looking at this week's fixtures, we've got some absolute pearlers in Division 2 in round 8. Goody Saints taking on Old Iggy's.
Yeah, Goody Saints, I noticed this, they play the pack around them. They play Old Iggy's, Adelaide Uni, Foss Camden across the 3-week block. So maybe they've had the hardest draw. You'd expect Goody Saints to win, wouldn't you?
You certainly would. And as we spoke about in our Div 1 wrap, there's a lot of 4-point games. You look at the split there, there's probably anywhere between second to third. There's not much between them. Second to ninth, sorry. So I suspect a lot of 4-point games will probably determine the fate of a lot of these teams in Division 2 in the second half of the year. Match of the round, and almost one of the matches of the Adelaide Footy League right across the 7 divisions is Modbury hosting Salisbury North. This will be an absolute builder, Tommy.
Yeah, this will test Salisbury North, and we'll find out just how good Modbury are. I actually think this one will be really close. I'll take the Hawks if you want to know.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Hawks as well. Flinders Park, been impressive. Need to continue that form after beating Modbury on the weekend. Coming up against Foss Camden. Danger game for them. Can they consolidate themselves in the 5, Tommy?
I think they will. Shooter Schultz, a good addition this year. Toby Schultz, former Spock superstar, and I think they'll be too good for Foss. I think Foss are going to have some tough days, and this might be one of them.
Yeah, good call. Edwardstown taking on Ross Trevor. Now, Edwardstown playing at home. Tough one for them.
Yeah, they'll lose by a fair bit. Sorry, I don't have anything clever to say about it. I feel for them, but Ross Trevor, I think, are going to be a real dangerous team as the year progresses as well.
Yeah, they certainly will. So Ross Trevor being a pretty informed team throughout the season, suspect them to get the chocolates down there at the roundabout. Atherstone taking on Adelaide Uni. Now, this is a pretty enthralling clash. I think Atherstone's still got another couple of gears to grind out, Tommy, and suspect them to get the chocolates and do the damage against Uni. Yeah,
too many good quality players, ex-league players, and they were good against Salisbury North this week, so the Raggies for mine.
Yeah, suspect the Raggies to get the dishes done there. So after looking at the 5 games for this week in Division 2, round 8, there's going to be some mightily good games coming up, and we suspect there's going to be a ripping second half of the season. Tommy Duval.
Yeah, now, Matty, you are a man, and this is a question without notice, I shouldn't do this to you. You're a man who likes to do the big prediction like me, and we get them right, we get them wrong. So let's do them together, mate. Relegation, who are your 2 teams?
I'm actually going to go with Foss and Edwardstown.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that one. I think that's, we could be wrong, but that's where I've got them. And your grand final teams, we both think Salisbury North are going to be there, clearly. Who do you think they'll play?
I've got a sneaky suspicion it's going to be Salisbury North and Atherstone.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. I'll take Salisbury North, and where are Ross Trevor sitting at the moment? They're sitting 3rd, yeah, so I'll take Ross Trevor with that Division 1 experience. I'll take them to sneak through the grand final. Mate, that's been a beautiful report. Next time we see you, we're going to be right towards the second half of the year, and things have just shaped up really nicely. And the other thing that still interests me so much is that Goodwood juggernaut. Will the wheels start get turning, and will they move on the way up the ladder? So neither of us have tipped them to make the grand final now, which is really interesting stuff.
Yeah, I suspect they'll still be around the top 5 when the whips are cracking, but they've got a lot of work ahead of them.
Exactly right. Matty, you've been outstanding again with your Division 2 report. We'll be back with more Between the Posts after these sponsorship messages.
You belong in blue. Apply for a career with South Australia Police.
Welcome back, and it's that time. It needs no introduction. It speaks for itself. It's time for the goals and marks of the week.
Prelim finalists last year, Gullies. They know how to win the big moments. Can they win the moments here? Moments make matches. Picking it up, going left, putting the indicator on and setting sail for goal, if you don't mind.
Wowee.
So plenty of candy there. Beautiful mark. That is a big mark of the week.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for What Caught Our Eye. Actually, you go for getting involved again. It's good stuff, isn't it? It really amused me. All right, mate, let's start at the top in Division 1. Who wants to go first? Do you want to go first?
I'll go first for the Division 1. What caught my eye was Port District's yet to win at home. They've actually played a lot of better footy outside Largs Reserve, so that's what's really caught my eye in Division 1.
Yeah, nice one, mate. Yeah, great stat. I mentioned it in Division 1 reports, I'll be brief. Teams sitting 8th, 9th and 10th all had a win. Don't remember seeing it. Maybe it has happened, but well done to PAC, Spock and Brighton. Div 2 is your area of expertise, mate, so I'll go first just quickly. Salisbury North 7-0 now. It's not the 7-0 bit that catches my eye. It's the goal kickers, Jake Johansson, 29, and Anthony Hellbauer, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, on 20 7, 56 between them, and they're a unique duo.
Certainly are a unique duo. Normally we suspect top 2 leading goal scorers in the division of Twin Towers. This isn't the case with one of those particular players. I think it might have been Hellbout that's actually the defensive forward who gets under the skin of a few clubs and loves hitting the scoreboard.
Johansson, former Magpies, Bays, and about 9 other clubs. Absolute ripper. Not much taller than my daughter Indiana either, Jakey. So absolute star. Good kid.
Yeah, what caught my eye was Salisbury North, still undefeated and cruising along at the minute.
Yeah, what do you got in Division 3, mate?
Division 3 really caught my eye. There's some high winning margins, particularly in some of the lower divisions, but what caught my eye was an average winning margin of 73 points in Division 3 yesterday.
Yeah, right. That's nice, that one. I'll tell you what caught my eye, and you said the average winning margin was 73. This one was 76. Lockleys, who were second, took on Havens in third for who is the team challenging Henley? Well, it's Lockleys, 76-point win. Benny Harron kicking 10. When Benny's on song, Lockleys win flags. So this week, it's not the game of the round. It's not the game of the year. It's the game of the decade. It's 10 years in the making. It's Lockleys versus Henley. Now, obviously, I used to work in the Glenelg zone. Lockleys have always been considered the little brother, or whereas Henley have been, they've got the footy school, the Henley Footy Factory. Lockleys have waited a long time, come through the divisions for this opportunity. I haven't locked in divisions before. Some of these guys don't like each other. It's Lockleys versus Henley. If you're anywhere out that way, get down and have a look at that one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because Tommy Clark, former teammate of mine, coaching Lockleys, and Damon Head, former schoolmate, hasn't missed a trick at Henley this year.
Yeah, no, they're both doing beautiful things, mate. Division 4, another top-of-the-table battle happened on the weekend. It was 1v2. Kilburn, 12-8. Kenilworth, 12-6. It was at Blair Athol Reserve. Beautiful Blair Athol Reserve. It was the Cougars by 10, 14 and 14. But Kilburn, with just 4 scoring shots in the last quarter, all goals, got the chocolates by just the narrowest, or nearly the narrowest, 2 points.
Took a bit of a deep dive, Tommy, into the Division 4 ladder. We've got 5 of the top 6 teams with a percentage of over 60. So that's probably not really seen much within any footy circles right across Australia. Those 5 clubs being Kilburn first, Plympton with a 75% percentage, Kenilworth, Hectorville, Westminster, all with 60 plus, and Morphettville in 5th position with 54. You suspect they'll go over 60. Most likely to have some of those bottom 2 teams into the next couple of rounds.
In Division 5, and 2, 3 and 4 is all about the top teams. You're probably sick about hearing of them. Here's another variety of match of the year. Blackfriars 0-7, West Croydon 0-7. Going into the break, the team that wins this might party for 14 days because this is your big chance. It's at St Dom's Ovals. Good luck to both the Blacks and the Hawks there in that one.
Yeah, I've took a bit of a nosedive into the consistency of the performers at the Div 5 level. Either very comfortable with their surroundings or in the twilight of the year. Now listen to this stat we've played 7 rounds, 31 players have had more than 4 out of the 7 games in the best players. So 7 players have been the best players 6 occasions, 6 players with 5 out of 7 games in the best players, and 18 have rolled in the best players out of 7 games. So phenomenal consistency right across the board there in Division 5.
What tells us that? What that says to me, it's a great stat and good analytics by you. Is your top end, even in Division 5, is still very good footballers.
Yeah, that's certainly.
It's maybe your bottom 6 where it differs a little bit. Give us Div 6, mate. What do you got for Div 6?
Well, there's only 2 undefeated teams, and that is Eastern Park and Salisbury. They're 7 and zip. Next week, they play each other.
Magpies and Demons, not a big trek for either of these 2 teams, Central District-based teams. It should be an absolute beauty.
Certainly will be.
Nicely done. Now, Ingle Farm got the chance to play Elizabeth. They've had a big win over Elizabeth, which isn't the story in itself. It's the Rigney boys. The Rigney boys kicked 21 goals between them, the 4 of them. I think it's 3 brothers and a cousin. It was Brandon with 9, Ari with 7, Terrell with 5, and then Leham, spelt very strange, anyway. Matt Bedgewood told me to say that joke, just putting that out there, Liam, so relax. He had a shot from the goal square to make it 22 in the last quarter and get all of the boys on the board, but wasn't to be. But 21 goals across the family with all 4 playing big parts. That's a good day for your family.
It is a huge day, and moving along to Division 7, someone else had a huge day yesterday was Daniel Wheatra.
Yep.
20 sausage rolls for Para Hills, takes his season tally to 64 in 7 games, so that's over 9 goals a game.
Tommy, I'm going to ask
Not
you a
bad.
question. What's the most you ever kicked in a game?
I like that question. The audience have got their hand up out there. I think we all know I kicked 12 in a game in about 2.5 quarters one day, mate. Was on track for 22, breaking the club record. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yeah. Thanks for asking.
No. Just thought I'd throw it out there.
It's good. That's good. That should be the end of the show. I had the exact same thing for Weetra. But the other one that was interesting to me was I previewed this one, I think, it was a big game. 4th place Hackham taking on 3rd place Flinders at Flinders Uni. Hackham shot out to a 39-point lead at quarter time, just hung on narrowly under the tutelage of super coach Blake Derrer, doing good things down there, young Blakey. Well done. So, mate, that has been what caught our eye. We'll be back next week with more exciting things happening around the league. And for the final time, welcome back to Between the Posts, Matty. I asked everyone that comes on, have you had fun?
Oh, I've had an absolute ball, Tommy.
You are a wealth of knowledge, and I learn a lot from you all the time. And I know one group that likes you, it's the South Australian Police Department. Proud sponsors of this segment. You never get in trouble with them because you're a good boy.
Don't.
School teacher, great man. And thanks, of course, to all of our great sponsors who you'll be looking at right now, mate. One of those is Filming Footy, which is something you do each week, mate. Where are you off to this week?
Off to the Golden Grove versus Sacred Heart Old Collegians game. It's going to be an absolute rip snorter.
Harpers Field, nice looking oval now, good scoreboard. They do things pretty well at Golden Grove, and they need to win that one, as we've mentioned.
They do. Looking forward to the new grandstand / club rooms being unveiled very, very soon.
Yeah, one of these power clubs with 2 ovals, it works well. The other big game is the Stream Team game, or Tea Tree Gully and Broadview, as you've called it, a 4-point game. What about today, mate? Where are you off to today? You're always doing something in footy.
Yeah, going off to watch the Camry Crows. Hopefully knock off West Coast Eagles in the last minor round game in the Indigenous round for 2024.
Harley Reid to have 40-4 and break the hearts and end my gauntlet tip. I'm off to Walkies, Walkerville Oval to watch some North Adelaide under-15s and then Ingle Farm Oval as well to see the boys do their thing as we move into development squad season. But, mate, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Hopefully we've brought some entertainment.
Certainly, I wish I was here every week, but that's a story for another day.
Thanks for watching. We're back next week with more Between the Posts.